back to Chris Frank Games, a live video game podcast. Frank, that was pretty much a perfect intro with the graphics and all that stuff.
Nice.
It was pretty good, pretty spectacular. So
Yeah, if I could see them, I would be very impressed.
I'll have to go back and check the replay. All right, so my name is Chris Stotts, and that's Frank White. Frank, how are you? How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay.
All right, sounds very good. And if you do want to watch a video version of the podcast, you can go to YouTube and just search Chris Frank Games. And
Let's hear pretty beautiful faces.
we have beautiful graphics, and we got pictures, and it's amazing how much the pictures add to the news stories.
Yeah.
It's all about the video, Frank. We're pivoting the video.
And also, you can see, I'm going to have to check to see if the weird stain on my green screen is affecting anything. I don't think it is, but it bothers me. I put this up every time, and I'm like, how did that get there? This thing sat in a bin for years before we started doing this.
Well, I had to split up the background image so it's not quite straight, but you can get the point that we're at the Chris Frank Games arcade.
I mean, what green screen? We're totally hanging out in this cool virtual space.
It's just there's this weird line going through time and space between us, so very weird. But that's the magic of video games, ladies and gentlemen. You know what else is the magic of video games is that there's news every single week that gives us stuff to yap about.
And there is pardon my French, a fuck ton of news today. So we'd better just dive right in.
Well, there's a lot going on. It's E3's coming up. It's like less than a month away. So a lot of stuff's like the Ghost Recon's thing came out.
We got releases, we got announcements, we got YouTuber drama, we got developers going under, we got developers having walkouts, we have did I mention the YouTubers blocking their wives? I think I did. It's hilarious.
All right. Well, we will. Let's start off with some positive, some positive stuff, and I guess right. The PlayStation. What was this called? The State of PlayStation, or something like that.
State of Play or something.
State of Play for PlayStation 4 hit not so many hours ago. Probably 6 hours ago, and they. I don't know, Frank. Did you watch this?
I did not. I was busy today. I didn't.
I did not watch this live, but I did kind of watch a review of it. Just really quick. We'll just do a couple quick hits. They showed off a new Monster Hunter DLC, Monster Hunter World, and it's snowing. It's snowing.
There's ice stuff.
Yeah, it's basically the ice level.
Is it going to be, the problem with Monster Hunter stuff is that you never know if it's going to be like a permanent DLC or like an event thing. Like I kind of gave up on keeping up with it because like if you don't get a chance to log in and fight, the monster of the week, like he's gone, and then once you fall behind, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, I do believe that they did say something about available for purchase, so it's gonna be paid DLC, I would imagine. So. There you go. Ain't gonna be Christmas.
What I wanted, and I'm unhappy.
Ain't gonna be a Christmas event, Frank. They're gonna charge for that. All right, then here we go. This is pretty cool. Although they didn't show shit, they just showed pretty much theatrical teaser. There's gonna be a Predator game, Frank.
Nice.
I
wasn't paying attention at all. This is all news to me.
Yeah, in the Arnold Schwarzenegger era, it looks like it's going to be kind of in the jungle and all that stuff. So none of this new Aliens versus Predator crap going on or whatever they got going on these days.
So are we playing as the Predator or the humans?
Well, it's made by the same guys that did Friday the 13th. So they described it as an asymmetrical multiplayer. So this actually might be the first asymmetrical game that's actually fun to play as the monster, right? Can you imagine having all those gadgets and all that stuff and the triangle laser sight? Oh, that'd be pretty dope, huh?
Well, I guess that seems reasonable. Like, because you've got, neither side is completely, helpless. So you don't have to deal with like what are the camp counselors going to do without any weapons or ability to fight back versus what is the bad guy gonna do when he's got four guys all like pinpointing fire on him?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Can you put clay on yourself so your body heat doesn't show up? Are they gonna let you do that? Is that gonna be like
rolling
anti?
around in the mud. They had the guy in. I did watch the some of the um, Ghost Rider Lands Recon, Ghost Recon out the
Ghosty ghost.
Tom Clancy game, and they totally had a guy hiding in the mud in that. So
All right, there you go. Same
it's crossover potential.
maybe technology. So yeah, they did not show any gameplay whatsoever. So they said 2020. So
Mm.
okay, all right. And then here's actually a pretty. Then they showed some other crap that I didn't really find super interesting. But here's another game that I did think was pretty interesting. This game called Away. It's a survival game where it seems like you're like several type of animals. Where I don't know exactly how this works. Like you are, certain, like sometimes you're a chipmunk, sometimes I don't know, I can't remember all of it right now. But and then you basically have to like survive in this world where these other things are trying to attack you. And apparently it's gonna be set up like there's natural disasters like a forest fire or something like that, and you have to like escape out. So I thought that actually looked kind of interesting.
What's it
So
called?
it's called Away, 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 Away. That's kind of a weird title.
That sounds familiar. They announced that previously with like no information or something.
I don't remember that. What was that game where you could like just become different animals?
Oh, was that Wander? Give them normal names, guys.
Was it like Jungle or some like Concrete Jungle or something? Or I don't know.
Well, this Tokyo Jungle. But
yeah, there you go.
PS3 era.
Yeah, I think, but that's the one where you become different animals, right? When you eat them, or something, you evolve.
No, you just like you can play as different animals. It's a very arcadey thing.
Oh, okay.
You do eat. Like you can play as the bear and eat the dog, or you can play as the dog and run away from the bear. But like you don't like move up.
Okay, so this I don't know. Maybe this is an evolution of that. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, I'll definitely check it out then, because I'd kill for a new Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah, it looked definitely pretty interesting. So definitely check it out. All right, and then they here we go. This is what everyone was waiting for: a new Final Fantasy VII trailer, where
it still exists, folks.
Yeah. And they showed, of course, that scene again, the opening scene where it kind of zooms in on Eris, and she's picking green crap or whatever. But the renders and it actually looked pretty good actually this time. I do have to admit, even though I've seen this a billion times. And it seems like that they're doing the game in the Final Fantasy 15 engine. And it seemed like there's no more turn-based combat. It's more of that action-based combat. That's what I was listening to the Giant Bomb guys talk about, and that's what they're kind of saying. So they would know more than I. So that's
no
actually.
Wonder it's taken forever then. If they're basically just making an entire new game,
like redoing
with the skin of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you what, that's way more interesting to me than just playing this crappy archaic. Speaking of archaic, turn-based strategy games. So.
Yeah, but you'd think they could poop that out in a couple of months. They're like, all right. Are the textures upresed? Is the resolution up? Okay.
Well, those are all renders in the background. They weren't even like the only polygons were the guys, so they have to redo everything. But by the way, did you see Kotaku had this series? At least one of those guys from Kotaku had this series where he basically like translated, or he compared and contrasted the Final Fantasy VII Japanese to American translation. I don't know. Did you check it out? I didn't actually watch any of those, but the concept.
I'm intrigued by the idea. Not enough to pay attention.
Yeah. I really don't care about Final Fantasy VII at all. All right, so then I don't know. In all, I mean, it was only 10 minutes long, and I mean, I guess there's a couple interesting things, but was any of this stuff necessary? Nothing like no Last of Us. I mean, maybe this is more of an indie type of thing, but
it sounds like it's a lot of more announcements than like. Updates.
Yeah, maybe they're just kind of clearing the deck here before they get ready for E3, I guess. So, all right. So all in all, just I think they're trying to be Nintendo, but Nintendo actually brings the goods. Bring the goods, Sony. Next time, bring the goods. All right, moving right along to and by the way, speaking of PlayStation, before we move on. EA Access is coming to PS4. Now, this is basically the service you pay EA like, I don't know, what, $30 a year, $5 a month to like play a bunch of all their old games, and I believe you get like a trial of new games for like 10 hours and all that stuff. So if you're really big into EA games, and I like Battlefield and all that stuff, the Star Wars games, but I mean I don't think I'd be down for that. Although you do get these like previews though, like 4 days early and all that stuff. So I can imagine maybe plunking down $5 for that just to do that. If it was a game that I really wanted. Anyways, it was on EA. I'm sorry, it was on Xbox, but not PS4. And finally, it's coming to PS4. Previously, it said it did not give value to the customers. That's why they said they weren't bringing it earlier, but that really means that EA finally changed the terms and gave them a better cut. So I think EA probably budged here, just so they could have access to the 90 million customers of PS4. So
sooner or later, everyone pays Sony's.
yeah, tax. Yeah, there you go. All right. And then, okay, so moving right along now, PUBG relaunched in China. So China's video game industry went through...
yeah, I saw this. This was fun.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. So it went through this big regulation. The Chinese industry where basically games were not approved to be sold in China until they kind of figured things out. And now, like, you have to get approved by the government to sell games in China. Probably because the market's so goddamn big, I'm sure they want a cut of every single dime that goes through there. And and then so some of these restrictions is that no violence, some sort of violence restrictions. So PUBG pretty much reskinned itself as a game called Game of Peace. PUBG, the ultimate murder simulator where you try to survive and murder all these other people, now called Game of Peace. And when you, I don't know, give someone a kiss with a bullet, I guess, with the AK-47, the guy goes down, hands you his loot box, hands you all his crap, and then waves to you. Waves goodbye to you.
Yeah, it's like, you have defeated me in the art of peace combat.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day.
Game of Peace. Yep, it's friendship. All right, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, so really, they changed the death animation to be hilarious and gave it a new name, and we're off to the races.
So I wonder if that's like is everyone like in on the joke? Like, does everyone realize that's like ridiculous, or are some people just like, oh, that's weird, or are people like, we're gonna do the most ridiculous thing possible? I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. And then, so the Media Network by Danny Dwyer Noclip had a couple interesting topics this week. One of them was interviews with the two guys that did FTL and Into the Breach. So I don't know, Frank. Did you were you able to check those out?
I did actually watch that one because I really like those games. So
yeah, I watched it, but then I kind of lost interest a little bit, like in the middle of it. Because then they're talking more about Into the Breach. I didn't really play that game, but yeah, what was your thoughts on that one?
There wasn't a whole lot there that I didn't like already. Like, it was, they talked just. It's interesting to see how these things develop because, like, for those of us who have no experience with game design or development, like, you kind of imagine these things like. The idea at least comes out fully formed, like that they're like, we're going to make this game, and then it's a matter of programming it and balancing it and stuff. But like, no, it really seemed like they started with like core ideas and then worked really hard to find the game from there. So like with Into the Breach, the kind of like the central idea was just mitigating damage being like as important, if not more important, than defeating the enemy. And so that was kind of the idea they went with, and then it took a long time to like kind of find a fun game in there, and that they dug around and like they're talking about how they like completely scrapped the game several times over just about. So that stuff's kind of interesting, and it's also I've always wanted to like get into writing for games because I like to write, and and I like video games, and it seems like fun. They sure don't make it sound fun because they're basically like sitting there going like, yeah, I think the writers hate us because
Yep.
they got like a name guy to write the flavor text and stuff and the back stories for the characters, and then we're like, okay, well we're changing. This guy's power is being changed for gameplay reasons. So like everything that you wrote for his backstory has to be thrown out. So yeah, I imagine that would be frustrating from the writer standpoint, but I'm sure they understand that the gameplay obviously has to come first. It can't
Yeah.
be the game can't be in service to the flavor text or the backstories. So
Yeah. Hey, if that check cashes, who cares, right? If your
yeah.
shit's in the game.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. But it wasn't like, yeah, there's not enough. There wasn't a lot of mind blowing kind of stuff in there. It was just like, boy, it seems really hard to make games like these.
Yeah, their story was pretty interesting too. They both kind of met at 2K China, and I think they're both kind of offered, "Hey, you can work here, but you got to move to China or something like that," or maybe he was already there. I don't know, something like that. But
The
they
one guy had moved there, and the one guy was already there for a
okay,
job.
yeah. So and then they just kind of risked it all, and I wish they kind of went a little bit more into a little bit of FTL and kind of the beginnings of that. But I don't know, but I watched it like a while ago, so maybe they actually did. So, but it was pretty interesting if you like those games. So, all right, and then this other one. So this is actually a podcast, but they did a podcast with a one-armed gamer who plays Sekiro, and I guess he plays with like a foot pedal and then like with a part of a controller as well. I don't know. I did not listen to this, but I don't know. Frank, did you see this at
No.
all? All right, yeah. Again, I did not actually listen to this, but I want to.
So we have no input.
Yeah, well, all I want to say is, all you babies asking for easy mode, try playing the game with one arm. Okay, not be tied behind your back, one arm. Okay. So
All right,
there you
everyone
go.
get chopping.
All right, and then
Well, someone's already beaten it with the Donkey Kong bongos because that's like a requirement. Like it's it's weird how at this point it's become a like a cycle that repeats. You beat it with the bongos, you beat it with the Guitar Hero controller, and then there's somebody else out there who's like, because there's a guy out there who beats all the bosses with various like without ever attacking or without ever deflecting, like just removing like core components from the game. Like now I'll beat the boss without ever doing this thing. Now I'll beat the boss without ever doing that thing. And it's a whole thing these days.
yeah.
So. And Sekiro had a lot of opportunities for that.
All right. Well, let's move right along a little quickly. The NES games for what is it, May, were announced, and Donkey Kong Jr., which I always thought I liked as a kid. I'm sure it's a fun game where you're like swinging from the what is it, from the ropes, from the chains, and all that stuff. I always thought that was fun. A lot of athleticism, yeah. And then versus Excite Bike. So I believe this is those arcade cabinets you would have at Showbiz Pizza with Mario in there too. And then you could play. So it's basically a two-player Excite Bike. So you can play that with two-player. If you got someone who wants to play two-player Excite Bike, that's pretty cool. And then Clue Land. Frank, did you ever play this?
I have no idea what that is. You're probably pronouncing it wrong.
Clue Clan, not Clue.
Ku Klux Klan?
No, Clue Land or something. Maybe it's Clue something. But yeah, it's kind of like it's almost like a tank combat game, but you're like this kind of like these crabs or something. So I don't know. I'm probably
all right. I'll take your word for
pretty
it.
Pretty poorly.
He's smoking the rape.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
which side of you are on? I don't know which side I'm. Anyway, moving on.
All right. And then here's some other news really quick that they announced is literally 30 minutes before the show, so this is late breaking news. But
Ooh.
Tetris 99, that free Tetris game, if you're a Switch Online user,
Mm-hmm.
well, there's going to be DLC for it, where you can actually play 99 bots or 98 bots, so you can
Ooh.
practice doing that. That's cool. And then
99 Tetris bots. Okay, sorry.
and then a single player mode. So basically, just Tetris single player if you just want to play some regular old Tetris against no one, just yourself. So
Our new DLC where we remove all the things that make us unique.
yeah. So I guess what, it's gonna be $9.99. So I think this is actually kind of smart. Give like this kind of multiplayer game for free, get people playing it, and then sell them like kind of the single player Tetris game. I think it's pretty smart. I think it's pretty smart. And I think it's smart to charge like $9.99. I mean, charge for quality. Say you're a premium product, you know.
Uh,
Don't do this fucking $4.99
well,
shit.
are there any other Tetris games on Switch for them to be competing with? So,
I mean those Puku Puko game or Puya things. Puya Tetris I think is on there or something like that, but I don't think like a pure Tetris.
mm.
So I don't believe so. All right, that's the Nintendo news, and then Frank, I know a story near and dear to your heart. The developers of Echo announced
Oh
that they're
yeah,
shutting down.
Ultra
So
Ultra.
so why don't you give
Yeah,
us the skinny?
this was pretty sad. So Ultra Ultra, the Swedish, Norwegian, Iceland, I don't know, somewhere in like this Scandinavian, Northern Europe, kind of. I don't know where they're from. Uh, but unfortunately, Echo, I guess, did not, in spite of winning like BAFTA, I think, and it won a bunch of awards, and then and even got a movie deal. Like supposedly, like who knows if the movie deal actually ever goes through, but they did get a movie deal for an adaptation. And it's just a really good game that I thoroughly enjoyed and will yak on about to anyone who will listen. But yeah, I guess it just wasn't enough to keep the lights on, and they are going to be closing up shop. So it's hard times out there for making unique single player games with no DLC. Um, but yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's too bad.
I don't really have much to add except you guys all suck for not playing Echo.
Hey, we're all guilty. Well, not you. You bought it though, Frank, right?
Yeah.
For half off though? Did you get it? Did you get full price?
I don't remember. I think I got it pretty early on.
Yeah, they were having sales on this, right? You tell me you didn't. Oh, well, who knows?
Yeah, there was a big it was on sale on Steam for quite a bit off recently, which was probably like the, we have to make rent this month fire sale kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
So,
very possible. Well, but you know what? Who knows? Maybe it's like one of those things where a rock band breaks up. Maybe they just had creative differences, right? Let's hope that the game was good,
well,
but then they're like,
I mean, they definitely have some talented people in that developer. So hopefully they will all go on to bigger and better things.
yep,
Designing the loot boxes in the
yeah,
EA games or something.
perfect porcelain loot boxes.
But yeah, I guess for those of you who aren't aware, Echo was that stealth third person game about being on a giant space station that looks like the Palace of Versailles into infinity and is trying to kill you with clones of yourself that can only perform actions that it saw you perform. So it's high concept. But actually, I'd say the high concept isn't even the best part about the game. I just really liked the design, and it was just really fun, kind of stripped down stealth gameplay. So if you're a Metal Gear Solid fan, definitely check it out.
Word. All right, Frank. So I bet you. I guess you have a bunch of the news. So why don't you?
Yeah.
What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, there's just tons of stuff happening. So Monday we had a walkout, employee walkout at Riot Games, the developer of League of Legends. And I was just reminded of this because YouTube was playing me a weird ad for League of Legends with like cartoon characters like stick figures explaining League of Legends to me. Like, have you ever heard of this great game, League of Legends? But yeah, so there were like, was it Kotaku or I don't
I think
remember
it was
who
Polygon. I think that broke
had
it.
the big article about. So yeah, so there are some sexual harassment issues in that company, and supposedly there's some like kind of long-standing toxic cultural issues going on in there. And but so the walkout on Monday was for to protest the forced arbitration, which is a super duper common thing nowadays, where corporations basically make you sign away your ability to, sue or, pursue justice in the U.S. courts for, this private arbitration, which is basically just like a private court, which is pretty much inevitably stacked in favor of the large corporation versus the employee or customer in any of these things. So it's a pretty shady practice in general, and you know it's shady because it's becoming more and more common. Where it's just like one more way to protect the bottom line from these for these giant companies. But yeah, so I guess they thought it was a little too far that they were going to have to work out these sexual harassment issues with arbitration, and so they're protesting that. It was, I think, 150 employees walked out on Monday, and they are threatening to do it again on the 16th. But I don't think management has budged yet. But we'll see what the next
Well,
phase
didn't they do a
goes.
meeting with beforehand and say that they were going to allow the arbitration or no disallow or whatever allow them to do lawsuits or something like that? Didn't they say that? I thought
Um,
I could be
well,
wrong, but
I'm
I thought
sure
I saw that.
they probably they're going to say whatever they
Yeah,
to get the bad press to go away and to get the
but I
employees back on the
you know
job.
these these agree whatever these NDA what do you call these things, these contracts you sign with these employees where it's like, oh, you can't work with the competition for 5 years if you're ever let go or ever you quit or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, the non-compete
Yeah, and all this
clause.
other stuff so you can't sue. Like, like I bet if you challenge that, that's like unconstitutional or it's just like it's bogus. You can't like
Yeah, well,
you can't not
especially
let
with
me sue you if you're not. I mean, you're not my like slave master. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So not
but
I'm not saying that they're definitely in the wrong and good for these employees and all that stuff. But just thinking about this part of the thing, it's like, yeah, I don't think that's actually like. But obviously, you'd have to have money to like go and fight it and all the
yeah,
stuff.
well,
And
it's a defensive thing.
yeah,
It's because with it's like the user agreements. Those things that we all click on. Um, like if you violate some obscure clause in your Apple end user license agreement that you clicked on because they changed it, and like Lord, no one actually reads that stuff. um, they're not going to come after you. Like if you do something to them, they're not going to go after you because they don't want to risk, creating the precedent that the EULA is unenforceable. Um, Defensively, it's another story because basically, it's a good way for them to be like, nope, can't sue us. And
yeah, we warned
even
him.
if
We
even
warned
if
you.
it wouldn't hold up in court, and it would be fightable, it's like, no, the idea is, the power imbalance is such between the corporation and the employee anyway that unless they get like some pro bono lawyers who are in it for the ideology, and that have funding. If you need something else, the media, the public backing you up. It's basically, this is David insurance for Goliath, is essentially what these things are for. uh, and yeah, I think they're really effective at that. And yeah, and it's something like 70% of the time when arbitration it goes for the corporation. So that's the other thing is it's not foolproof. Like, they're it's not comically evil. They're not just it's not literally like a kangaroo court that always says no. Because if it was, then people would catch on pretty easily that it's a scam. But yeah, it's a shitty practice. It's increasing. Um, and yeah, I guess when you try to put arbitration towards something that could even be, criminal acts, borderline criminal acts, the water gets murkier still. So
Yeah,
we'll
well,
see
what?
what happens.
Yeah, well, and also there's that part, and then there's a bunch of other things going on there for sure. Like one lady had a sign saying, "I got harassed, he got promoted." I mean, when you got stuff like that going on, like at the corporation, where there's like just these these a holes or
Yeah,
these scumbags are being put in positions of power over certain employees, like that's not right, and something's got to be done about that stuff for sure. So good on them. All right, what else? What else you got, Frank?
yeah. So I guess that was kind of big important news for the industry. Oh, even more big important news for the industry. We have the looming cloud of regulation overhead here in the United States regarding loot boxes and gambling. Um, so, as you guys know, in Europe, there have been some countries that have been pushing to regulate loot boxes as gambling, and it's been successful in some countries. So they've had to take out microtransactions and loot boxes from games in certain regions, um, and the U.S. Government is starting to kind of side eye things, and it's bipartisan. So it's because it was we've got actually got it up here. A Republican senator from Missouri is introducing the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act. Uh, so basically for games played by minors. So this would not apply to any game that can conclusively prove that 13-year-olds aren't playing, which is no game because
Mm.
there's nothing out there that the 13-year-olds aren't going to be playing. Um, so yeah, I doubt this is going to really go anywhere, at least at this phase. But I don't know if I was one of these big gaming companies, I would definitely be investing in a lot of lobbyists right about now.
Well, I mean, who knows if these guys are just doing this just to get promotion and all that stuff, get their name out there, get some headlines and all that stuff. But also, like, okay, so if you gotta prove that someone is 18 or older or 16 and older, I mean, how do you do that, right? You check to see if they have a credit card, right? Well, do these kids have credit cards? Are they buying loot boxes with credit cards right now? So what's right? Aren't they using their parents' credit card? So isn't their
Yeah,
parents ultimately responsible? So I don't know, but I think the industry is kind of moving away from loot boxes, anyways. So I'm actually probably don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't think kids should be gambling, obviously, but again, where I mean, you gotta put a credit card to buy these loot boxes, right? So where is this credit card
yeah.
coming from? So
I mean,
yeah.
there is a path forward that's win-win for everybody, which is basically for the industry to finally get scared and be like, ooh, maybe it's not the best thing for us to be, designing, these payment systems around, taking advantage of human psychology the way gambling does to get people pulling that lever. It's the Skinner box, and we've discussed this before. Everybody's discussed this before. Jim Sterling has to make 3 videos a week on this topic. So we don't have to get into like just what loot boxes are, why they're bad or anything, but we have a path forward here where we can turn the car around before government regulation comes in. And I'm a lousy pinko. I don't have any problems with government regulation per se, but we know that these senators uh, have no idea how any of this stuff works. Like they're not a smart bunch, and like I don't know, like I know 90s nostalgia is big these days, but we don't want to have hearings, with Joe Lieberman 2.0 railing against Star Wars Battlefront.
Holding an Oculus Rift.
Yeah, just like completely unrelated stuff.
Yeah, PlayStation.
Because whatever they do is going to be too broad or too narrow. Like it's never gonna be effective legislation because I don't really think they know what they're talking about.
Well, when they define loot box, put in writing and make it a law, and then all of a sudden you can't play Diablo 3. You know what I mean? So that's something you got to worry about.
Yeah,
too.
like we're going to be taking random number generators out of games or something. There's
maybe we should actually. No, it's
no
not
more
bad.
procedural generation. All games must be completely handcrafted and play the exact same way every time.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is going to be lights out. Lights out, Sean.
No. Every game should be 100% speed runnable. No RNG. But yeah, so ideally, like we start taking the threat seriously and self-regulate basically. Like
yeah, I think
dial things back a bit, guys.
Yeah, I think for the most part, at least the AAA, I mean, yeah, everyone seems to be kind of moving away from loot boxes and doing this cosmetics thing, and it's the mobile industry, which have at it. Go after them.
Yeah, I think Candy Crush was like the example the guy used. So.
Oh yeah, there you
go. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure I agree that like the industry is drifting away from it, but I definitely think that the player base is like the gamers in general like have kind of caught on to the scheme here, and especially when it comes like the whole thing with cosmetics now is that they're kind of walking it back because they've hit a wall where if you're putting in loot boxes and like blind boxes with gameplay bonuses, the so-called pay to win stuff, the gamers get mad because when they realize that they have to keep buying these things for like the 5% chance to get the gun they need to be competitive or whatever, they get pissed. And because they know that like some kid is gonna like get his like rich dad's credit card and buy a gajillion of these things until he gets the super bazooka or whatever, and they get pissed off. So we've walked that back to cosmetics now. Psychologically, I don't think it's that different. Like it's the loot box itself of like the shiny things popping out and the like, ooh, I got that, but I'm looking for this, maybe one more. Maybe I should like save up my V-Bucks to get a couple more. So we'll see. Like I don't know I don't know if gamers are really gonna like catch on to the whole thing being kind of bullshit, or if they're gonna be able to draw the line in the sand between gameplay stuff and cosmetic stuff. But
yeah,
I just hope EA is like quaking in their space boots.
Well, I mean, yeah, they took all that crap out in Battlefront 2 and then Battlefield 5. They don't really have any of that stuff either. So yeah, that's what well, at least
and
it's
all gravy. So on the bottom line, like this stuff, like so, which is why they love it. they love it because it's like, wow, it's almost zero effort and like a massive, you know, extra helping of profit on top of
It's free money.
your main course. Yeah.
It's free money, basically.
So like, and it's going to be hard for them to give that up. But on the other hand, it's like, well, I'm sorry you guys had to give up the free money and go back to doing your jobs.
Yeah. Let's get some maps. All right. What else? Anything else?
So yeah, okay. So that's the big news for our frivolous chuckles. Uh, YouTuber Pro Jared. He's the professional Jared. He's not an amateur Jared.
He's 4K.
I've heard that
Jared.
name before. I've never I don't know YouTubers, but like the name was familiar. He's in trouble right now because I haven't been paying too much attention because I'm like, who cares that much? But no, apparently the guy had been cheating on his wife, who is like a cosplayer, with another YouTuber, and has also been like soliciting nudes from his fans.
His
And
underage
then,
fans.
I don't know if they've got. I don't know if that's been thrown out there yet, but
I think some people have said they were underage at the time when he solicited them or when they sent them to him. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, but but the main thing is that he preemptively blocked his wife on Twitter, so,
Wow.
which is just the funniest thing in the world. I blocked my wife.
I guess that means they're getting a divorce. Then?
Yeah, well, so it was funny because like he put up the like, yeah, so we're having some rough times, we're getting a divorce, and then she responded with, I can't see what he said because he blocked me. He's been cheating on me for a while and soliciting underage nudes. And then the other amusing bit was that he crossed the million subscriber mark.
There you go. It's
in
great
the other
his,
direction.
It's great for his career, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well, we'll see. No, you know, the kids who watch YouTubers have short memories.
Did he get arrested or no? This is just drama that
No,
blew
this
up?
is just this pure drama.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know this guy either, but apparently he's like a Pokemon streamer at times, I guess, or something.
Oh, it's the child-friendly ones.
Maybe he started up, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why these guys are asking people for nude pictures online where everything's time-stamped, everything's recorded. Like, I thought these guys knew like how the internet worked and everything is marked down.
Yeah.
So yeah, not smart guys.
I'm assuming it's one of those weird power things where when you get fans and you're like,
God, when you
they will do whatever I say.
When you have hundreds of thousands of people just kissing your ass that just want to be around you, be around that stardom, that YouTube stardom. Yeah, it's you can make them do whatever you want.
So
not that I would know.
Who among us would not solicit nudes if they had a million YouTube subscribers?
Let's say take advantage of the situation. Let's just say that. We all got.
Let's put that to a test. People watching this, go do one of your weird like scams where you put out ransomware on people's computers until Chris Frank Games gets 1 million subscribers.
There you
go. Don't shoot up a church and say subscribe to Chris Frank Games. But,
well, don't do that. Don't do it. We don't have to say maybe.
Yeah, just in general.
Don't do
that. But yeah, we'll find out. Make us famous and see if the fame comes.
I think we'll be fine.
It's an experiment.
I think we'll be okay. I think we can handle it. It's these kids that cannot handle it. So
this is gonna work so well. I can feel it.
All right. Well, we have smart fans. We have very smart fans. They can do it. They can pull it off. All right. So, Frank, did you have anything else for us?
Just a quick hit release. Blood Fresh Supply, I think it's called. The Blood source port is out. Night Dive Studios, who you might know as the guys who have been desperately working on the System Shock 1 remake for a while now, and had the big debacle when everybody hated the design, and then they had to go back and make it, actually look like the game it was supposed to look like. But yeah, apparently they've been working on a source port or remaster. I don't know the specifics of Blood, the old build engine horror first person shooter.
I never knew about this game. This is news to me.
You never played Blood?
No, I never
Oh.
did. Did you come out on? It did come out for like Nintendo 64, right? Or PS1?
No, I don't think it got. It was not big enough to get console.
Where did you play it on? Like PC or something?
Yeah, I remember going over to like my friend's house in like middle school
Yeah.
and playing it. Like I had the shareware version, I think.
Yeah, never
But
played
yeah,
it.
it's like it's Duke Nukem 3D, but with like zombies and cultists, and you shooting like flare guns at them and throwing dynamite at them and using voodoo dolls. Um, it was there like that was the era of Duke Nukem and
Doom.
the first Shadow Warrior,
Yeah.
all the build engine games. That unlike most of these games, though, the source code was never made available. So there's never been like a proper updated version of the game. Like if you buy it on Good Old Games, you just get a DOSBox emulated version. And so they somehow they got the rights. This was apparently some crazy hurdle they had to clear, but they did it. And then so now there is a proper version of the game with proper modern features like mouse look and stuff. It's not a remaster or anything. It's just the game now able to easily play on modern computers without emulation. So.
All right, there you go. That's pretty cool.
And yeah, and then GG Man Lives. God, he's a YouTuber, tends to be like old school first person shooters, and I have no idea what the name is. Never heard it said out loud. It's just like GG Man. But anyway, he's a big fan, and he was doing a video about the release for it, and that's how I found out about it. And then I get it for cheap because I had the original game on Good Old Games. They didn't give it to you for free, but you got half off at least. So I was like, okay, I'll pay $5 and put it in wineskin. Um, but yeah, and then that's how I learned about the 30-year-old boomer meme, which is a whole rabbit hole that we won't get into. But apparently it's me.
All right. Okay. We won't get into that. All right. All right, so that's all you got.
That's news.
That's the news, folks. All right, so let's take a break really quick, and we'll be right back with the games we've been playing. All right, let me get a drink here. All right, I'm pretty good. You all set?
Yeah.
All right, I'll just go quick and then hand it over to you.
Oh, die.
Thank you. All right. Well, welcome back. All right, so I'll just go really quick because I don't have anything too much. Just been playing a little bit more of Battlefield 5, and I was playing Firestorm a lot, the BR for Battlefield 5, and just kind of getting really frustrated with it because I would just get to the game, die fairly quick, and just always lose these firefights. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take a break from the BR mode and then just kind of go back to the regular game mode. And I found myself really quite enjoying it because, first of all, you kill people a lot faster, probably almost 2 or 3 times faster because they have way less life and health and all that stuff. But also because it's more like a real like World War II battle with the sounds and just the flow of the battle and all that stuff. And you're not just like running around this crazy raging landscape, killing teams and all that stuff. You're actually kind of participating in these battles, and pumping up the volume, and maybe taking some intoxicants. Really is kind of a really just kind of a engrossing experience, I'd say, and definitely a pretty neat video game war simulation. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and then I would be using the weapons that's in the battle royale mode in the base game because I never really used a lot of those weapons actually in the base game. I used other ones, and I just kind of would just grind on them and practice on them. And now when I go back to the BR mode, I'm actually like really good shot, and really good aim with all these different weapons. And I've realized that being a sniper with a long range scope and long range weapons is really key to the game to kill these people, because you gotta hit them from far away, knock off their armor, and then move on, get close to them with a machine gun, and like knock them down. So you gotta be good with the sniper, and you gotta be good at long range. So um, yeah, so just been playing that. So nothing else really going on. As far as I'm concerned with video games, I kind of paused with. I mean, I really enjoyed that Zelda VR stuff, but like I just find myself having. I don't know. This sounds so sad, but just thinking about putting, picking up the Switch and putting it in the goggles and like going into the mode and all that. This sounds pathetic, but it just seems like a lot of work mentally, where I can just pick up the PS4 controller and turn it on, and we're ready to go. Although it takes like 10 seconds for the goddamn menu to load up. So, all right. So that's all I got. Frank.
It's understandable. I own a lot of games on disc, and there's definitely been a few times where I'm like, I could play X or I could play Y, but I don't have to get up off the couch to play X, so X it is.
That's pathetic. That's pretty sad. This modern world of ours can't even stand up or move, whatever. All right. What do you got for us this week?
So I got some new stuff. I started playing Earth Defense Force 5. It was on sale, the Golden Week sale last week. Did not spring for the DLC, and I'm incredibly glad I did that, because so the DLC, it's like got some like vehicles with skins and a few extra, starting weapons. But the main thing is that it's got like 20 more like extra hard missions or something like that. But to give you an idea of the scale of a Earth Defense Force game, I think I've maybe played it now for like 10 hours total. And I only now just hit 5% completion.
Oh yeah.
Because it's got 100 missions, and if you're going for, I mean, there's no way I'll ever get anywhere near 100%, because to get 100% you have to beat every all 4 characters, play 100 missions, and then there's the difficulty levels, like 2 of which don't even unlock until you've made it all the way through the campaign once. And they're kind of games that are meant to be grindy, because you pick up new weapons and armor upgrades every single round, and just like slowly improve your guys' loadouts. But yeah, it is like, I don't know, like, why would I spend another $15 to like get some stuff that I will get around to sometime in 2021 maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for those of you not in the know, that's the giant ant shooting simulator. And that's, I mean, there's more than just ants, but like that's basically it. You're a soldier. You have machine guns and rocket launchers, and then the other types have like jetpacks and laser guns, or turrets and grenade launchers, or like big powered shields and Gatling guns, that kind of stuff. And you fight like gigantic hordes of giant insects and UFOs. It's all about alien invasions, and you're the Earth Defense Force. You got to defend the Earth. It's pretty, as far as the main series goes. I think we've talked about this before. How if it's got a number, it's a main series game made by the original Japanese developers, Sandlot. And if it has a subtitle like Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, which is actually more recent than Earth Defense Force 5, because for some reason they decided to release both of them within like 6 months of each other in the West here. But yeah, that one's actually made by Western developers and has the Unreal Engine, and like actually looks fairly nice, though they can't can't talk today. They can't quite fit as many hundreds and hundreds of monsters on the screen. And if you know and love Earth Defense Force, you know and love how janky it is. The menus are bad. I literally can't make heads or tails of the multiplayer menu. I was like, I should try the multiplayer. I still pay for PlayStation Plus. I should use it once one of the and like I looked in like and the lobbies, it's just it hurts your eyes. There's no like differentiation between like what lines are. It's just like a bunch of boxes and
Mm.
words. Like the UI is just awful. And also vehicles are awful. They control badly and they're pretty useless. But no, this is a game for just yelling as you unload like a souped up assault rifle into just like a wall of giant insects. And then there's also fun like there's kaijus, so you can go toe to toe with a Godzilla, and the games actually have the sense of scale. That's the thing that really like attracts me to them. Is it's one of the rare games that has that real sense of scale where you are a human-sized thing fighting something that is literally the size of a skyscraper. Um, and you get the sense you actually get the sense of that scale between you, or you're fighting like a city-sized UFO, firing rockets into its exhaust ports as it tries to like just barf up spiders on you. Um, and they do a pretty across 100 missions they do a surprisingly good job of like having variety in there of like because all the missions are essentially just shoot the monsters. So I'm always surprised at how much variety they managed to get, though most of the games are pretty much the same. Like, so the variety exists across a single game. But I've been playing this, and I'm like, so there's one like mission where you're kind of the city has been leveled, and there's just like a horizon full of enemies advancing, and you're sniping them from a distance to kind of take out as many as you can before they reach your the front lines. And it's a cool mission. But I was like, I'm pretty sure this exact same mission was in Earth Defense Force 2025 or
No.
27, whatever. It's a really confusing franchise to remember which ones you've played. I know I played 2017 and I played Insect Armageddon. Maybe some others. I don't remember. But and I got some split screen in. That was always fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't really unlike Iron Rain doesn't really change the formula much. It just and the frame rate still chugs because they're like, no, we're not. We have more. You have a PlayStation 4, Pro. We got we're moving up a generation here. What are we gonna do with that power? Well, we're just gonna put more insects on the screen. No, we're not gonna make it run better or look nicer. We're just more shit going on, and that's exactly what I signed up for. So I've been enjoying that. It is. I have a problem not blinking apparently when I get really like I'm just unloading a Gatling gun into a wave of monsters. Twice now I've been playing the game and like a big tear has started rolling down my cheek and I'm like, oh, well, okay, I apparently am not blinking. I need to work on that.
You
Yes.
need to have your wife put eye drops on
Yeah.
in your eyes while you're playing, like in
Just don't
Clockwork
disrupt my
Orange.
vision. But
Yeah.
no, it's actually a weird. It's like a good chill out game because unless you if you keep the difficulty reason like normal, you can pretty much just like mindlessly blast insects and upgrade your things. It's got a weird system though where you have to pick up the upgrades. So there's this always this mad dash at the end where because like the weapons drop out of the enemies like pinatas, like the weapon upgrade, and it's just a big green box that says weapon or a big orange box that says armor, and you have to pick those up. And if the mission ends, you don't you have like 2 seconds to actually like get the ones that are nearby you. So that's actually like every time I've died in this game so far has been me getting greedy and trying to go grab a bunch of items for the end of the thing, and then getting swarmed because I was more focused on picking up the power ups than I was at actually like maintaining, you know,
Mm.
insect population levels. And then when you die, you only get like half of the items, which is an improvement over this. That's actually one of the big changes they've made, is that you can actually get stuff from a failed mission. Because before it's like if you, it's really sucked to like pick up a million power ups and then like die at the very end of a mission. So now they are nice enough to be like, okay, depending on the difficulty level, you'll get to keep 75, 50, 25% of the stuff you picked up. Um, which yeah, and then also you no longer only get stuff for the character you're playing as. So I mean, it's you mostly get it's like kind of like 80% of what you collect ends up being a weapon for the class that you're playing as, but not always. So that's nice that you don't always start from scratch when you decide to like try the next class. Um, just otherwise, you just got to go right back to the beginning of the game and kind of grind it up. So it's nice to have that head start a little bit. Um, but yeah, that's it's a fun game.
Yep.
I think if I don't know if I can super recommend it for you know people who've never played the franchise before, but if you know what you're getting into, it's a solid playthrough.
Word. Sounds good. Yeah,
Um,
I'll just wait for it to come on PS Plus in a couple of months. So surprised one of them hasn't. One of them was just on Xbox, right? I believe. Did we just talk about this?
I think so. I know
I
they've got
recall
a
that.
few to pick from these days,
Yeah.
but I think Xbox probably since they get the 360 games,
I think
because there
maybe
was a
the
bunch on
361.
360. Because that's like I actually think I played most of the ones I have played on 360. So yeah, like the biggest difference, other than like I remember playing Earth Defense Force 2017, and like it was the same thing. They dropped the weapon power ups, but back then the weapon power ups were sprites. They weren't actually like modeled. It
Oh
was
yeah.
a 2D sprite of the weapon box they had to pick up. So that's how far this franchise has advanced.
Mm-hmm.
The pickups are three dimensional modeled objects now.
There you go.
Um,
All that processing power
yeah.
right there.
But in addition to that, so that's kind of been my main game that I've been playing this week. But I also bought Shakedown Hawaii.
All
Um,
right. So this is the new indie hotness this week, right?
yeah, this is not, I guess, a spiritual sequel. It's not like a direct sequel, but it's from the Retro City Rampage guys. So I don't know if you remember that. That was from 2012, and that was basically NES GTA, the game. Like, and it came out around the same time as Hotline Miami. So it was like there was that thing where the two games that have some superficial similarities come out on the same day or the same time period and get endlessly compared, even though they're not that. I mean, they're top down, they're retro, but open world GTA versus the mission thing. Also, I Hotline Miami was a lot better. No offense, they it was an impressive feat. Like he basically made a from scratch NES development kit, and like they even did. I think they like kind of as a lark ported a stripped down version of the game to an actual like NES cart. Um, so I remember making the joke of like, yeah, well, it was, you know, you had Retro City Rampage, which was a marvel of software engineering, versus Hotline Miami, which was barely functional when it came out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing it on PC at launch. Like it would like crash if the wrong music track played and stuff like that. And it was made with like one of those game maker uh, programs that have kind of gone by the wayside these days. But yeah, it was like, but it was a better game because it was just like more fun core gameplay. But no, not that I disliked Retro City Rampage because here I am playing the new one. It's 16-bit now. It's basically old school GTA but fun. Like the I don't I haven't actually looked if there's a way to change the car controls, but the car controls are all stick. Like you don't actually have to hold down the accelerator. Like with a lot of the top down car games have kind of the tank controls, and this one's just like just hold the stick down and it turns to so you can do like a full 180 turn just by like moving the stick backwards. And the car magically can kind of just spin on its center axis. But the cops are a lot easier to loot. Like old school GTA was like once you had the cops on you and you weren't in a mission, you were just effed because it was so hard to like find a respray to get away from them. So the cops are a lot easier to get away from in this. It's got some kind of fun twin stick shooting things. There's a generous lock on system for if you're playing it on the Switch or like on something that doesn't have twin sticks. But you can also just play it as a twin stick shooter. Um, no, I think the most prominent kind of thing for me right now is the writing, because it's just a huge flex on Rockstar because this game is writing the kind of goofy, over the top satire that Rockstar thinks that it's writing, like in GTA games, and yeah, so it's goofy and but it's music because the premise is basically it's not actually in the 80s. It takes place today, but the premise is basically that you are a skeezy 80s business guy with bad hair, hint hint hint, who has not been paying attention to his business for the last couple of decades and like realizes that he's just about out of money and his business has not been running itself like the way it's supposed to. So he starts to get involved. And then it's basically just a big, like, the plot seems to be like skeezy 80s guy realizes how skeezy, the 21st century is and decides that he wants in. So there's all these jokes about subscriptions. Like he gets really mad, like when he realizes he needs to get a word processor and then is confounded by the fact that it only has subscription options that he can't just buy the software anymore. And so he decides he's gonna use these skeezy modern business practices himself. So like one of the early missions is buying a subprime auto loan company.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's still got that kind of retro lens, but um, it's very much about how the 80s have never ended, at least here in America. So
Well, yeah,
it's amusing. We tried to make Gamer Cola. That was he's gonna have double XP on it, but he doesn't know what double XP means.
uh,
And yeah, there's other characters. There's like side missions that are just like taking out South American cartels that are kind of like isolated from the rest of the game, and nothing groundbreaking. Like it's kind of easy. It's not super in depth. Like most of the amusement you get out of this is just from like screwing around, and then like the kind of Easter eggs and jokes and the little like. I found a weapon that was barber scissors, and you actually cut the sprite's hair with it. Like if you run up to a guy and you hit him with the scissors, it does damage, but it also like changes his sprite so that he now has like a shaved head or a bald head. Uh, it's just little stuff like that amuses me to no end. But otherwise, it's your total bog standard, challenges, um, like purchasing property to create passive income. Like it's all about buying like the real estate and stuff. So nothing you haven't seen before, but amusing and colorful and good music. And yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the trailer, and it looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
All right, very cool. All right, so it's Hawaii Shakedown Hawaii, right? Or Hawaii
Yeah,
Shakedown?
Shakedown Hawaii. And
Hawaiian
the
Punch?
shakedown actually comes from like one of the main things there's like 80 businesses in the map that you can shake down, which is basically you go in and do a mini game to convince the person to pay you protection money, which sometimes is just wrecking up the place, but other times is like goofy stuff like getting in the like getting in the customers' bubbles. So you have to like stand near the customers, like hold out a selfie stick to annoy them, or one of them was flushing paper towels down the toilet. You had to pick up paper towels, throw them in the toilet, and flush it to wreck the pipes, just to get the people to be so annoyed with you that they'll pay you protection money.
Oh,
So,
nice. That works.
yeah, well, and so like every one of those you do, uh, like adds like a little bit to your kind of daily income. So I don't know how many sinks there are going to be as far as like I found like the doctor's office has upgrades. You can run faster and take more damage. But so that's my one concern is that yeah, I'm a little worried that like this game that's all about making more and more money is going to run out of kind of things to do with the money except for just buy more stuff, buy more property. I mean, so but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm sure they have some surprises up their sleeves.
All right. Very cool. All right. Cool.
And it's coming out on like everything. Vita, I think they did like a DS version even.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Switch. This would be a really good Switch game, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And you got for what? PS4?
Yeah,
Is that right? All right.
but I
Cool.
think it's PS4, PS3, and Vita all just together. So
Jesus, to put on everything, huh? Good
yeah,
lord.
well, and they're nice enough to like you just buy it and you've got it on all. Buy it once, play it on any.
No, that's pretty dope. All right, sounds good. All right, so I think we'll end it right there. Thanks for listening and watching. Remember to make sure to subscribe, and why don't you give us a review on the old iTunes podcast list? And I'm sure you're listening
We
to
need
some.
stars. We need
Yeah,
stars and thumbs up to live.
hey, we got 7 reviews, all 5 stars. I think that's pretty good. Just give
Hey,
us some word reviews and give us
totally
feedback.
not our moms.
Yeah. Hope, well, very possible. Very possible. My mom usually gives 3 stars, so there
I don't think my mom knows what a podcast is.
you go. All right, we're okay. Well, that will be the show for this week. Thanks again for listening. And my name is Chris Tatz for Frank White. It's been Chris Frank Games. See you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.
Oops.